I'm Charlotte Craven, and today I'm going to talk to you about Camarillo's first churches. Although the first churches in Camarillo had completely different beginnings, records show a remarkable spirit of cooperation between them. The first organized church, Pleasant Valley Baptist, began with neighbors who shared a common faith, gathering for worship services. They recorded an organizational meeting on June 12, 1869. Their first church building was dedicated on September 23, 1891, at 2315 East Ventura Boulevard on land donated by Mr. and Mrs. Frank Davenport. In 1925, a second building replaced the original one at the same site. 5 years later, a third structure was erected, adjoining the second. Harold Burkett, son-in-law of Adolfo Camarillo, was the architect. The bell for the church's tower has a story of its own. It was cast in Los Angeles for the Church of the Little Flock, located in Springville, which disbanded about 1906. The trustees loaned their bell to Pleasant Valley Baptist Church in 1917 and then donated it in 1930 when the church structure was constructed. When Pleasant Valley Baptist Church moved to Ponderosa, the bell was removed and it now stands in front of the new church, which now calls itself Pleasant Valley Bible Church. They also took the stained glass windows to their new church. Although a devout Catholic, when Juan Camarillo died in 1936, he bequeathed $5,000 to Pleasant Valley Baptist Church as a mark of gratitude and appreciation for the many acts of kindness shown to me by its pastors and people. In 1979, Pleasant Valley Baptist Church moved to a new building at the corner of Ponderosa and Lantana. The Ventura Boulevard building was purchased by the Evangelical Free Church. For a while, the Evangelical Free Church occupied the structure completed in 1930, while it rented the one completed in 1925 to Camarillo Heights Baptist Church, whose building had burned in a 1970 fire that swept through the Heights. The Heights Baptist Church then built at the corner of Las Posas and Carmen and is now called Camarillo Community Church. Meanwhile, the Evangelical Free Church changed its name to Chapel City. The first Catholic church was a one-room wooden family chapel on the Camarillo Ranch. On July 1, 1913, the same site was blessed and the cornerstone laid for a replacement chapel at 2532 East Ventura Boulevard. Juan Camarillo, Adolfo's brother, commissioned Albert C. Martin to design it in the style of a mission church he had admired near his father's birthplace in Mexico City, and he had it built as a tribute to God, the growing city of Camarillo, and his parents, Don Juan and Martina Hernandez Camarillo. The chapel was named after his and his brother's oldest sister, Magdalena. While on a trip to Europe, Juan commissioned F.X. Zettler in Munich, Germany, to make the 13 stained glass windows, which he hoped would be installed before the chapel was formally dedicated on July 4, 1914, and before Adolfo's oldest daughter, Rosa, married Alfred Pettit later that year. However, the stained glass windows were misplaced at a port in Italy during World War I. They were not discovered and shipped until 1919. Although a family chapel, all Catholic people in the area worshiped there. A priest traveled from Oxnard on Sundays and holy days. It was operated as a mission of the Oxnard Parish until 1940, when the Camarillo family gave it to the Los Angeles Diocese for use as a parish church, including the chapel, the East Wing, which was used as a family museum that housed items Juan Camarillo had brought back from his worldwide travels, the fountain that resembles the one at Mission Santa Barbara, and a Camarillo family crypt beneath the southwest corner. On July 27, 1976, a second building, called St. Mary Magdalene Church was dedicated at the corner of Las Posas and Crestview. Land and building were paid for with money pledged by parishioners. In the 1990s, extensive earthquake safety improvements were made to the chapel. Both the old and new buildings are used today. This story would not be complete without mentioning Disdar Park. The Davenports not only donated the land for the Pleasant Valley Baptist Church, but also donated enough land for the church to have a cemetery across the street. In order to entice donations for the 1891 church, members who gave $20 to the building fund were given a cemetery plot. During the next 50 years, more plots were sold as the need arose. Upkeep of the grave sites was up to the families, but church members occasionally spruced up those that were not cared for. In 1929, Juan Camarillo bought the unused portion of the cemetery from the congregation for $10,200. That is where the fire station was later built. As time passed and families either died out or left the area, many graves were neglected. The cemetery as a whole was considered an eyesore by local businessmen. Mr. Hazen Mike Disdar, who operated both the community water system and a restaurant, was so concerned about it that he met with church trustees to discuss the matter. By 1940, the church owned only the driveway, walkways, and a few unsold plots. In 1941, Mr. Disdar proposed a plan whereby he would pay all the costs to move all the bodies from that cemetery to Ivy Lawn in Ventura if the church would contact families of the interred, obtain consent to have the remains exhumed, arrange to have the land deeded back to the church, and later deed all of the property to the county of Ventura to establish a park. The church approved the plan, and members began the tedious task of contacting family members to make the necessary arrangements. Mr. Disdar died in 1943, long before that work was completed, but his will contained a provision to pay for the project. The book, Pleasant Valley Baptist Church, 1869 to 1969, by J.R. Ray Bright, states, "There were a few graves that were not moved. The families involved said they would rather leave the bodies where they were, especially so as the land would be a perpetual park." In December 1954, the County Board of Supervisors accepted the deed for the property from the church. The county turned it over to the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District after the district was formed in 1962, and the city purchased the park from the district in 2011 for a price of $1 million. Camarillo Foursquare Church began as a series of tent meetings led by the famous evangelist Amy Semple McPherson herself in the 1930s and early 1940s in a field near the site of 2572 Berry Street. She was based in Los Angeles and founded the Foursquare Gospel Church. Followers continued to meet in homes until 1954 when the church was chartered and built by the Berry Street site. The building was recently bought by the Topavania Buddhist Center, which will soon use it as a temple.